Hola, bienvenido and a warm welcome to the second DTM race of the season 2010. It's the first time that we drive in Valencia. Yesterday clinched pole Mattias Ekstrom with the Audi, and on second position we have Bruno Spengler just close behind him. On fourth position Gary Paffett, the winner of Hockenheim the last race, and only on position 10 we have the reigning champion Timo Scheider.
There's a nice look at the grid and the Red Bull car of Ekstrom. Again, we still puzzle about the speed of Timo Scheider, champion last year, champion indeed in 08. The Dunlop tyres have changed substantially for this year. Everybody on the same control Dunlop, and maybe Timo Scheider just hasn't got a handle on the different characteristics of the tyre. So everyone getting ready now to roll off on the sighting lap, as they say in motorcycle racing, a warm-up lap, and it'll be on the grid, and then a countdown just as we have with the lights in Formula One. So Mercedes versus Audi. We already have the news now that in 2011 BMW will join this championship, maybe some others as well. For 2011 there will be a major change in the technical regulations, and there is an attempt to have the same set of regulations for the Japanese GT Championship, and maybe even the Grand Am Series. And as I understand it, all the manufacturers of Enter will be given the same carbon fibre central tub to the car, and then it's up to the manufacturers to graft their own suspension and bodywork on. So let's just recap that starting grid then. Ekstrom and Spengler, Jarvis and Paffett to Resta and Rockefeller, Molina and Promar, Martin Tomczyk and Timo Scheider round out the top 10, Marcus Winkelhoff and Jamie Green, Ralf Schumacher in 13th, just ahead of David Coulthard, Engel, Frankie Cheng and Susie Starter, and Catherine Legg feeling very unwell, not making the start, although she did indeed qualify for the race. Cars leaving to get a little bit extra temperature into them. Remember, as ever in the DTM, 2 mandatory pit stops between the laps 11 and lap 36. Everyone currently full of fuel with 70 litres on board. They'll squirt another 20 litres in on each of the 2 stops. Their confirmation on your screen of the pit stop window. And this distance for the 45 laps is 180 kilometres, or if you're in England, just over about 105, 106 miles. The race will take just over an hour. Look at that track temperature, 48 degrees. Well, I think there's still a very big question mark over the tyres. Certainly Mercedes got round the problem better at Hockenheim than did Audi. Audi have done a lot of work in the last couple of weeks or so to try and understand why they had a problem, particularly in the rear, overheating the rear tyres. And I believe they've had a couple of universities involved, and also the Audi technical staff looking at it. The roar of 470 brake horsepower you heard then from these V8 full racing engines. These are not modified production engines, they're full racing engines. And they're getting ready, the 2 team bosses, Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, who answers to one of the main board directors at Audi, Mr. Michael Dick. I think he was down there, he often attends races. The yellow car is the one you want to watch for. That's David Coulthard, and you will see these lights, Formula One style. The 5 red lights will come on. They will go out, I believe, driven by a computer program, and then the start, all important here at Valencia. The lights, 4, 5, and a very quick start, and a great start by Ekstrom. Pretty good start by Oliver Jarvis, and I think Jarvis it is who slots into second place. Yes, he does. He gets the jump on Spengler, I think. No, Spengler's down the inside. Spengler hangs on to second place. Gary Paffett goes wide, almost into the gravel, and Gary Paffett drops a couple of places there. And Paffett being muscled there by Promar as well. And poor start for Gary Paffett. But absolutely perfect start there from the man in pole position. Very tricky to start these DTM cars. They actually hold them on the handbrake and just letting the clutch slip a little bit and get a bit of an effect of a slingshot. And Paffett fights back there and gets ahead of Pramat in the very bright blue car. But Spengler hangs on to second place and more nudging him. Gary Paffett doesn't like to have Pramat right on the outside, gives him a bit of nudge. But seems to have dropped back, and the Frenchman, oh, we've got a spinner there, it's Maro Engel. So Gary Paffett really in the wars and drops back quite a few places on board with him. I suspect we'll get lots of replays of the start. And that action, there's Mike Rockefeller in the red S-line, Audi going through. And watch out for there, just a flash of the yellow car of David Coulthard, DC here in his second DTM start. Spectated at several of the races last year. Fresh, of course, from commentating for the BBC at Monaco. Ekstrom, Spengler, Jarvis, Resta, Rockefeller. After Rockefeller's Pramat, Scheider, and then Paffett all the way back to 8th place from Tomczyk, Molina in 10th, Winkelhoff, Green, Schumacher is 13th, Coulthard is at the back of the pack. He's had a bit of trouble getting his head around this unusual starting procedure. So I just wonder if there's been a little bit of damage to Gary Paffett's car after that pushing and shoving with the blue Audi of Pramat, the man from Paris. And now we're looking back here at Martin Tomczyk in the Red Bull Cola car. There's Paul di Resta going through, he's ahead of 3 Audis, and then it's Gary Paffett. Paffett winner of the opening round. Let's go on board with Gary, let's have a look at that start. Well, he seemed to get a pretty good getaway. Maybe he had to just lift a little bit there and just lost a little bit of momentum. Spengler down the inside though, and then Paffett going out a little bit wide, as you see, and that's where his problem started. Paul di Resta goes by, Rockefeller goes by, he's right up the boot of Rockefeller, and well, must be touching the Audi A4. Gary Paffett, and then what happened after that? Slightly offline. We still haven't seen where Pramat is. Did he get a bit of a nudge there, a bit of a twitch to the Mercedes C-Class? All this a replay, remember. Here's another view. This is Molina's view of what went on. And they're, well, going together. And a lock-up then from Gary Paffett. He had to turn in then. He got people on his outside there. He's right behind Rockefeller, Pramat alongside him. Very hectic and unfruitful lap then for Gary Paffett. There's David Coulthard, and he certainly wasn't last, and there he was held up by the spin of Maro Engel. So let's see what Coulthard can do. We've got a timing screen in front of us showing all the splits. Most of these cars will be starting here on tyres they used in qualifying. Some drivers have 1 set of unused tyres. Some have 2. I know Paul di Resta's got 2 fresh set of tyres. They do give a bit of advantage for a few laps. Gary Paffett trying to get back into his rhythm. There is Molina in car number 18 in 10th place. There is the Frenchman in the blue car, Pramat running in 6th. So Spengler in second place, the gap at the moment 1.4 seconds between Ekstrom and Spengler. First flying lap from Eki, 1:31.2. They were down just under the 1:30s in qualifying, so there's a little bit more speed to come out yet. Here we've got a replay of the stern car of Cheng going a little bit wide, and then David Coulthard dives down the inside. And Coulthard moves up to 15th place and puts the first Chinese driver in the DTM back a place. Remember, this series will end this year on a street circuit in Shanghai. That should be exciting. There's a long, long way to go before then. Ralf Schumacher in the one of the very latest Mercedes in 13th place. What's actually fastest here winter testing, but doesn't seem to have been able to find that speed over this race weekend, and really questions marks over Ralf Schumacher in this series, now in his third year, and still to climb on the podium in one of the best Mercedes out there. Paul di Resta then in fourth place. Oliver Jarvis just put in a fastest middle sector of anyone, and on our timing screen that's a purple colour, as it is in Grand Prix racing. So Jarvis goes purple in the middle sector, pushing hard obviously here. Another shot of the Paffett car here, a replay of the start. And Gary Paffett got a good start. I'm not sure if Spengler just bulked up a little bit, changing into second gear. What had happened there? I think Gary had to back off a little bit, and all of a sudden people were all around him. And there, a good view from above. Gary getting a good run off the line, trying to go down the inside. And, well, then went wide, and that's where his problems began. Not actually in the gravel, and there's an awful lot of gravel here, I have to tell you, in Valencia. I don't think I've ever seen such big runoff areas. There is Paul di Resta then, young Scottish driver who's been doing an excellent job as the number 3 driver for Force India. A couple of weeks ago in Barcelona on the Friday, out speeding one of the regular divers, Antonio Liuzzi, and I know Paul's feeling very frustrated on the Saturday and Sundays of Grand Prix. He wants to be racing Grand Prix, of course. He could dovetail that in with the DTM because there aren't any clashing dates. But at the moment, Force India is still saying that Liuzzi is their man for the whole of the season, but I think that could change. Let's find out what happens. Of course, Liuzzi had a good race at Monaco. There, the Audi top service car, and that is Scheider. Ekstrom then from Spengler, Jarvis, di Resta, Rockenfeller, and as you can see, overtaking here is not easy. It's fine for motorbikes, but for cars, just the whole layout of the track makes it very, very difficult. Most of the corners are fairly slow. There's only a couple of really quick ones, and that just doesn't help the drivers when they're trying to dive down the inside. There is the glorious back car, the mirror chrome car of Ralf Schumacher. All that Formula 1 experience. Victories, of course, with Williams. Jordan raced for Toyota. And Ralf Schumacher in his third season now. There you see all the aero devices at the back. The regulations were frozen in the end of the summer last year, and very little changes allowed to be made to the cars. They were able to homologate 3 different aero packages, and I believe they're running medium downforce here today. Again, another fast middle sector from Oliver Jarvis. Tomczyk, Molina, Winkelhock and Green 9 through 12. Schumacher 13th. Coulthard still there in